All right, welcome to Daditude, episode 3. I'm here with my good friend, the genius, the handsome, the amazing Jericho Green. How you doing today, buddy?
Genius. I've never been called that before, but everything else I have. Thank you. I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay, I retract the genius comment. I disavow that.
Yeah.
He's of a slightly above average intelligence. We'll tamp it down from genius.
I'll take it.
He's not an idiot. We'll say that. But like me, he is married. He sees the chaos out there, and we laugh about it, but we do want to help. We do have some great information for you guys about this. And we were talking before the show, and Jericho has a lot to say about this. We were talking before the show about women be crazy. You know what I mean? And how do you deal with it? Because we both have great wives. I do. My wife is a treasure. She is not like a modern Western woman in many good ways. She is not like that. But she's still a woman nonetheless. And they can get a little, I don't want to say unreasonable, but I will say emotional, where it feels like you're not talking to a person anymore. It feels like you're talking to something hysterical. And I want to know, Jericho, in your lovely marriage that you loved, your wonderful wife, how do you deal with that as a man? Because you want to, when a woman goes crazy, your reaction is to, get angry back. How do you deal with it?
Sean Connery. Well, it's like if you've ever seen, it reminds me of the scene from was it Batman versus Superman? And toward the end, when they're spoiler alert, when they're fighting Doomsday, he's blasting these eye lasers. Superman has it, but Doomsdays are much bigger and powerful. And Superman is like,
actually, that was Darkseid.
No, I think it was Doomsday. He had like the sharp like rock kind of things growing out of his
eye
hands.
lasers?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I saw that horrible movie years ago, and
it's not
anyway,
a good movie.
I won't. I'm sorry. I retract my statement.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but I'm just saying there's a scene where
Martha
he's blasting the eye beams at him, and Superman is kind of leaning into it and taking it. He's like, ah! And there's a super hot beam just spraying on him. That's kind of what it's like when your woman's like getting emotional, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's like grabbing a Tasmanian devil. You got to kind of grab a hold of it, somehow control
a Tasmanian devil with a nice caboose and boobies.
Yeah, with a nice ass. But you got to kind of find a way to cut through that and be like, hey, check it out. Here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. It's not that serious. Calm down. Because sometimes when they come to us with something, I'd say most times, they just want us to listen. They don't want a solution, which is weird for us because we're solution-based. If our buddy comes to us with a problem, we're going to give him a solution. But sometimes you have to be that sounding board. Yes, it is. And, every woman and man in a couple should have friends. Your spouse shouldn't be everything to you that you tell everything to. You need a best friend. You need a homie. You need something like that. But sometimes
I can't nudge my wife and say, hey, look at that chick over there. I can't do that.
I mean, if you want it to be over, if you're done being married, yes.
Yeah, you can do that at least once. You can do that at least once in your life.
But eventually you have to sleep. And depending what kind of woman you have, that could be dangerous.
Right.
But they're not going to give everything to their best friend. So sometimes we have to be that. And you just have to cut through it. You have to say, all right, hold on, stop, take a breather. Let's break this down. It's not that bad. Or you have to stop it completely and say, all right, that's it. Here's what we're going to do. You have to take charge and take control of that moment. But that's who they are. It's not going to stop. They're not going to one day, 20, 30 years into your marriage, you're going to wake up, that part of me is gone. I'm not that anymore. That's who they are forever. Right. So you have to learn how to deal with it. And I would say every time, let them get a little bit out. Let them release that pressure valve. But at some point, you have to say, all right, here's what we're going to do. Here's the deal. That's it. And that's what they want.
It is. It is. I liken it to a rudder on a ship. There's a verse in the Bible about a great ship is turned by a tiny little rudder. You look at a big oil tanker, it's got, in comparison to the size of the ship, it has a tiny little rudder. And I think as men, that's what we need to be for women. The hilarious and notorious now Bill Cosby, I heard him once say in stand-up, when a woman tells you what they think, they don't want to hear what you think. They want to hear what they think in a deeper voice. They want to feel heard. They don't want the solution, even though that's logical, the solution. They just want to say, yes, honey, you're right. You should feel that way, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Once you get there, then you can move on to the solution and all that. But yeah, I think, and that's the thing you got to learn as a husband. I didn't know that at first. You don't know it when you're a young man dating and you just like, women be crazy. You just think women are nuts, and they are, but you have to deal with reality on reality's terms. So if you'd like to save yourself a lot of, screaming and, bulging eyes and craziness from women, I think it is best to acknowledge how they feel. And then you can slowly get to the solution. I don't know why they want to do it the long way, but they need to.
It's like customer service. If you have a customer's coming to you all pissed off, first thing you do is let them get it out. Let them tell you their problem. Right. I came here and you guys did this. Let them have it out. You can, tune out if you want. Think about what you're going to do when you get home. Let them, blah, blah, blah. And then you come in with maybe not the solution. Maybe eventually you can give the solution, but then you come in with your part, what you think of the whole thing. And then, 9 times out of 10, it'll be that way. And they can be crazy. We can be crazy too in our own way. Like my wife doesn't understand how little things can piss me off so bad. Like you get into a murderous rage because of something little. But
like what? What was that? What's the latest like dad thing that's got you? When dad won't open his teeth when he's talking. What's the latest thing that put you in the clenched teeth?
I think the latest thing in my house is not putting things back where they go. Ooh. Just yesterday, I needed my duct tape. I just went last week to buy duct tape because I couldn't find the last roll of duct tape. Because I have a system. I put things back. When I was a kid, my mom and dad, more specifically my dad, put things back where you find them so you know where they are when you need them. Blah, 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 blah. As a kid. Well, now that's how I am. That's a major part of how I do things is I put shit back. I make a space for it. I bought these little pegs to put on my pegboard so I can hang them on there like a store. They hang products on there. That's what I got. So when I need it, I can find it in the dark. I don't even need to look. I just feel over there. I got it. Well, that hasn't filtered down to the rest of my family. So, and you know what? I think it's a benefit of me doing that because when they go to get it, it's right there every time.
The number one thing, the exact same way in my house. The number one thing that went missing for years until I had to put my foot down is the effing nail clippers. How many nail clippers do I have to buy at CVS for 97 cents when I want to cut my nails? And I finally just made a rule. The nail clippers, they go in there. I have this steel desk that's an office desk. They go in this desk in the front on the right side. If I open that desk, all 3 pairs are going to be there, and they always are for years now. Mm-hmm. But at first, it was always like, I don't know. I don't know what the nail clippers are.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Does your wife do this? Not only do people use things and not put them back, you specifically put a thing, your keys, your wallet somewhere, and then your wife wants to play hide and seek with it. It's like, oh, I moved your keys here because no. And you're like, you've been looking for it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. You're ready to kill somebody. In my house, it's the remote. I'm the last one to watch TV at night, and I put the remote in the same spot every time.
Me too.
So when my family comes out, They can find it every time. It's right there. But when I need the remote, it's a scavenger hunt. I'm lifting up couch cushions. I'm looking where I know it isn't because I've looked everywhere else. That shit pisses me off. But I do have in the back of my mind that maybe my kids are just like me, and I'm telling them 50,000 times this one thing. So when they become an adult, that's how they will be. They will put things back where they find them. So that's the only thing that keeps me from throwing my entire family on the roof every day.
That'd be a hell of a throw, man.
I could do
a lot of you guys don't know Jericho has a 4-story house, so that would be quite a throw to get them up there.
But it can be done.
Mine was the remote too. You know, Dad, he's got his big TV. He's watching the UFC. He's watching football. He's watching YouTube nonsense. And my dog. You met my dog when you stayed at my house, Mr. Gene. He's eaten the remote about 4 times, and I've made my daughter pay for it every time. So now the remote stays up on the bookcase by the TV in the same spot. But it took us a few dollars of my daughter spending money on remotes to figure that one out. But yeah, that's a pet peeve, is when your family hides your shit from you that you specifically put in a spot.
We don't ask much.
No.
We don't. You can fit the things Dad needs on a Post-it and still have room. We don't need much. But when those few things are out of whack or not where they're supposed to be, then we get into murderous.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
And why are you so mad? Why am I? But then you can't even explain it to them how you want to, because you don't understand.
What's funny about that is all this, the tension and the angering, and the main topic we're talking about today is women going crazy and you trying to deal with it. When they go crazy and they get really mad, my wife is an exception. I'm going to praise her on this. I'm going to give credit where it's due, because I know most wives are not this way. My wife does apologize. And I know most women can't apologize. They're sorry, but they're sorry you got mad. They're sorry that you got pissed off, and they're sorry they did a thing that you kind of made them do. Like, they won't just own it. Most women, it's like a joke on the internet, basically. Is your wife capable of apologizing? Mine is, actually. I'm shocked, because most women I've met in my life, they cannot apologize and take direct responsibility for their actions pretty much ever.
No, my wife is. She will apologize when she's in the wrong. And I love that about her, because that's not something that's easy for me to do, even if I am wrong. As a man, you have to, when you apologize, you have to tuck your tail, so to speak. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable and say, I'm sorry. And for some reason, that's just hard for us to do. And I think it's hard for those that we love, like our wives and our kids. If you wronged a buddy or something like that, or somebody outside of your inner circle, I think it's just easier to apologize to them. But for some reason, I think it's because it's so important to portray a certain stoicism, a certain personality, a certain way that you are to your family, and to admit that you're wrong. Is even if I'll be wrestling with my son and I'll hit him too hard or something, and he'll he's hurt, he's crying or whatever. Even that's even hard to say. Hey, I'm sorry, man. You're more quick to say,
you're a son, but life is tough.
I'm sorry, you're a little bitch. But it's tough for men to do that. It's tough for us, because I think it's a form of vulnerability, and manhood is not based in vulnerability. That's one of the arrows that stay in your quill more than any other, probably, is being vulnerable.
You mean we shouldn't be crying and complaining about our childhoods right now, Jericho?
I can't. Weddings, funerals, and births. That's it. And it better be somebody close to you. If it's your third cousin removed at their wedding, you better not be crying. But those are the 3 times you should cry.
Did you cry when your kids were born? I didn't
either, but I'll give that to you. If you cry when your child comes into the world, that's fine.
Sure. Now, were you in the room while the baby was exiting your wife? Because some guys are squeamish about that. I'm not at all. I was there. I think it's great to see.
I'll get my squeam on, if that's a word. But when my wife was having our daughter, she had a C-section, and the doctors are down there doing their thing, and there's this big sheet that's up. And so I'm down there by my wife's head. I'm talking to her and everything. It's so weird, because they can feel the pressure of what the doctor's doing, but not really what's going on. So she's moving around because the doctor's pushing on her, and the doctor dropped something. So when you hear something loud like that, you automatically, it's just a reaction, you turn and look. So I turned and looked, and I saw the whole setup, and it was disgusting. But
Really?
yeah, I was there and
Oh,
everything.
you
And
told me that blood, like all that. Didn't you faint once when you saw a
I got
horrible injury?
10 stitches right here, 10 stitches in the chin to prove it. Not if I'm
Because
seeing
your
it on
buddy ripped
TV.
his.
Yeah, he
Right,
ripped his toe. He got his toe stuck underneath the door. It was all bad.
Whoa.
Now, if I see shit on TV or whatever, I'm not tripping. Or if my kid comes in with a scrape knee out, but for some reason, that was just too much for me to handle. But yeah, it's a simple existence, but there are things to a man have to be a certain way. And when we have to break outside of that, it can be difficult, especially when showing vulnerability.
Right. So, okay. So we talked about women being crazy and unreasonable, and how to diffuse that is you hear them. Yes, your emotions are correct. It doesn't mean they're actually right about the issue, but yes, you feel that way. I totally hear it. This, that, and the other. It's going to be all right because women are naturally followers. I think that's one of the major things that's wrong with the culture is women lead the culture in the West. It is a complete gynocracy. Is that a word? I'm making it up if it isn't.
I like
It's
it.
a complete matriarchy and it's failure because women leading things is terrible because women are not leaders. Women can't lead. They're incapable of it for one key reason. They're group thinkers. Imagine like a herd of gazelle or zebra in the African veldt. They all crowd together. So it's like, okay, that lowers my chances of being the one the lion eats because we're all. So when women have opinions, they have consensus opinions. When women take actions and lifestyles and choices, look at fashion. If Rihanna or some famous singer, Beyonce, came out and shaved the right side of her head, how many women would have a shaved right side of their head the next day?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And when you look at the iconoclasts in human history, the one that stood up and told the entire world and the government they were wrong, it's always a man that does it. And this doesn't make women inferior. This is just a sex difference. It's probably very smart of God's design for women to be group safety people because they carry children for 9 months and then breastfeed them for like at least a year after. So they don't need to be daring and bold and dangerous like men because they don't need to get killed because they're the ones reproducing, like carrying the baby at least. So I think that's why there's a major difference between men and women that way is women are not physically strong like men. They don't need to be telling the whole world they're wrong and standing up to everyone because they get killed pretty easy and that'd be terrible. So I think that in absence of male leadership, you're going to have a bunch of like mean girl nonsense, a bunch of consensus. And that's how you get this postmodern crap of 5,000 genders and all this stuff. Because women that disagree, most of them are afraid to say they disagree. So that's why they need our leadership on that. Do you agree with my premise? Do you think I'm full of beans that women are not leaders? I don't see it anywhere.
No, I agree 100%, and it's not a bad thing. It's just the way they are,
Right.
and I don't think it
Not a
was
bad
ever considered a bad thing until recently when we were all being told that it's a bad thing that if women aren't shoulder to shoulder with men in every single thing.
Right.
And you notice it's never every single thing. It's all the stuff that they think is good. It's the corporate stuff. I
Right.
don't see
Not
any
women
elbowing.
coal miners.
Yeah, move. I want to go down in that much.
Hey, I'm headed 2 miles under the earth into extreme heat and danger.
Yeah, I want coal smudges on my face. No, you don't.
How come all the wildcatters on the oil rig getting their fingers ripped off are men? This is so sexist.
Yeah, you don't really want this. And it's like what my wife says. When my wife, if we're going somewhere, we have to pull over to like a restaurant or a gas station for my wife to use a bathroom. Then my daughter, because of the plumbing setup, she's always like, "Oh, you men are so lucky. You can just whip it out wherever you want. I wish I was a man for one day so I could do that." I was like, "What do you think? We're just a bunch of dogs that lift our leg on everything?" I was like, "You don't want to be a man. I don't want to be a woman for a day. Trust me, you don't want to be a man for a day." And women, I think the one thing that should keep women from being in leadership roles and stuff like that is because of this one sentence. I feel bad. It's easy to make a woman feel bad. I feel bad. No, just accept him. No, it's okay. Let him do it. I feel bad. And that's great. Women are accepting and loving and nurturing. That's wonderful. I don't want to live in a world full of men, only men.
Oh,
no,
we're too harsh. Be
we're way too harsh. It would be a cold, eternal winter existence on earth if men ran things. We don't want that. We want to come home, to a wife, to a family, to that feminine energy, to that softness, because our world is so hard. But when it comes to leadership roles, it needs to be a point where I don't feel bad. A and B happen, so C needs to take place next, and that's it. You can't accept everybody. Everybody can't come in. Everybody doesn't deserve everything. Everybody doesn't deserve to have their opinion heard. Sometimes we have to draw the line, defend that line, and that's it. Period. Right. I don't think, look at the numbers. It's detrimental to society when women run the household. It's not how it's supposed to be.
What do we call those places where there's the single mothers running the neighborhood? We call it a ghetto or a barrio in America.
Or a war zone is what they turn into. You have a bunch of over emotional men who are soaked and steeped in estrogen their whole life. Right. So they have the attitude of a woman, like, I can throw my drink in your face and nothing's going to happen, but you're in the body of a man. So any type of disrespect,
literally deadly, literally,
yeah,
very deadly.
That's deadly. That's how the cops light your ass up, because they're not going to give you that extra, fuse before they blow up because you're a woman. No, you're a man. You're acting like this. You're dangerous. You have the potential to hurt or kill me. Bang, bang, bang. It's over. Right. So you have these boys with these emotional mindsets, but the body of a man, that's dangerous.
My brother pointed that out to me just a few years ago, that the ghetto gangster tough guy types are actually very feminized. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he said it, I was like, oh my God.
They're emotional.
Because you think they're like thug, tough, ultra macho, like, oh no. They're totally emotional and feminized and out of control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That whole gangster thing is coming from a just completely feminized place of fear and like complete lack of any self-control. And Jericho, where do young men and young women, where do children get self-control and self-respect from? What parent?
I don't know. I think it's the big stinky one with the recliner. I think that guy.
The one whose nail clippers they keep hiding from him somewhere in the house.
If I got to buy one more roll of duct tape, I'm leaving. I'm going to get milk and I'm never coming back.
Well, I was talking to my wife about this, and we'll close on this. I wanted to know what you thought. And thank you guys for being here. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like, all that stuff. This is a fun show, and I think it's really needed. I think we're in a cultural moment where young people, young men and women, it's a disaster out there with dating, relationships. Nobody's getting married. Nobody's having kids. And you guys have to know it's worth it. There's no purpose more important for you in life than to have a family. That is the most important thing you do, men and women. It's the most important thing you can do. But what I wanted to say, I just lost my train of thought because of that. Thing.
Weren't you going to say something that your wife said?
I forgot. I started talking about the nail clippers. I started like getting triggered. So I get triggered about how many pairs of nail clippers I had to run to CVS and buy. And I'm a nail clipper, like my hygiene, I keep that in order. Like I don't let white on my fingernails. I think it's disgusting when guys have like 3-4 millimeters of white. I don't even care if it's clean. It looks terrible on me.
Yeah, it looks weird, man. And there's probably a fingernail clipper graveyard in your house somewhere where they're just collecting dust, like behind somewhere, just years worth of
it's just by all the broken and lost remote controls and just all the other stuff you couldn't find. Your duct tape is there. Somehow your duct tape ended up at my house with my nail clippers. It's just all there.
And all the one socks that disappear in the laundry. Where is that? I don't know where that land is, but I'd love to find it to get my shit back.
It's just it looks like the Sahara Desert, but it's just piles of duct tape, socks, and nail clippers. Just endless.
Remotes.
Yeah, just
Mr. Parmesan chewed up. Son of a bitch.
All right, guys. Well, if you like what you hear, let us know. Let us know in the comments your opinions on women's leadership, how to not take the bait when your woman be acting crazy. And subscribe. Check out all of Jericho's links. It's all in the description, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much. All righty. Bye.